Okay, so here we go. We have our fresh water here, and we're going to continue to develop the image, right? We have the three objects, and what I'm going to do here is we're going to work on the background, and we're going to isolate the three objects, okay? So, and we're going to work in layers, right? So we're going to work with thin layers, okay, initially, and then develop the image until we get to the point where we put in the shadow areas, which are the darkest areas, right? So we're working from light to dark. So here we go. So the cool color of blue with the yellow is going to create that green background, okay? And I'm going to work very, very light, okay? And I'm going to always be drawing, in a sense, with the color. Right, and we're going to include the shadow areas because they fall under the same value. We're going to keep this nice and loose because that's the nature of our watercolor. Right, I'm following the material around, right, and it's good to have it wet at this point because the material is soft graphically, right? So when the watercolor is put down with lots of water, it creates the soft effect that we want, okay? Okay, so this is, again, right? So I'm isolating the objects, okay? And I'm following the drawing nicely. Remember, the pigment's going to travel along where the water is in a free manner, right? So, keep that in mind, right? And notice I'm working fast and I'm not, rubbing and stroking the paper because that's going to release the yellow underneath. We want it to interact very subtly. So I'm going to make reference to the image. I'm going to implement a little bit more blue here, right? Representing that fold, right? A little bit of fold coming through. And remember that the subject matter, this is a point of departure, right? It's there to inspire our image. We're not here to duplicate it photographically or anything like that. This is a watercolor. The nature of it is very loose, vivid, transparent, and that's what you want to maintain as best you can. So I'm still working very light. Okay, I'm going to put in a darker shadow in here. And it's darker, remember, away from the light source. So I'm going to just intensify the value over here, going away from the image. And I'm just floating the brush on the surface. I'm not hitting it hard. And all these nuances and beautiful, the way the watercolor kind of has a life of its own, so to speak. Okay. And I'm pretty happy with this at this point. Okay. I'm going to dry the image a little bit. And if there are large pooling areas, right, there's a little technique to wick up some of the excess, right, without damaging the integrity of the drawing, the painting, right? Just a little bit to wick up the pool of paint, okay? Not a big deal. Okay, and we don't necessarily want to dry it all the way. I'm going to now pick up my round brush, right? And I'm going to just, before we move further on, I'm going to put in the shadow area. And conveniently, we're going to use blue as a cool area, right? The shadow area that's underneath every object, right? And we make reference to this, the shadow area, right? And see how it expands as it moves further from the light source. Right. And I can still see my drawing underneath there. And here I'm going to make the shadow longer. That's just the first layer to indicate where the shadow is going to support the object. Okay, and I'm going to hit the graphic aspect of the image, those shadow areas in the background, in the fold, in the material. Just going to move that along a little bit. I need a little bit more blue. Okay. And mixing up a little bit larger pool. So it's very important that you kind of have to think ahead and make sure you have enough color. And I'm just gliding the brush along the surface of the painting. Soften that edge a little bit. And at this point, okay, I'm going to dry the painting again. Right. And then I will define the objects with the color. And all these sort of aberrations that you might perceive to be, that's the nature of watercolor. It's the beauty of it. Okay, it brings a life to it. Okay, and now I'm going to just punch up those shadows in the background a little bit to stick to my graphic concept of the image. Right. Okay. Okay. All right. And here we are.